JHK here for the AllStar, and join me right now is lightweight prospect Lucas Clay. Lucas, you're coming off a big win, man. How you feeling?
I felt good. I did what I wanted to do, which I don't always say, because I'm my own biggest critic. I'm never satisfied. But after that one, I watched the fight a few times and I only did minor things wrong. So I didn't have that much to go back and work on. And all of the tools from the toolbox work made me happy, and my coaches. I didn't let anybody down. That's the best part about it.
Let's talk about the event. You know what I mean? LFA 115, not too long ago, second round Bravo choke finish, which is a very rare submission in MMA. Talk us through the submission and also your thoughts on the performance compared to your most recent wins.
Okay. So, I was really having fun with the ground and pound, and a lot of my wrestle boxing techniques were working. I am a huge Khabib fan, and I like the way all of the popular Russian fighters control and they strike while on the ground. Then taking away your opponent's defenses by tying up their hands, so it's free money. Every shot lands full power, and they can't say anything about it. So I was doing a very good job controlling my opponent's hands with my hands and his legs with my legs, so I could punch him. And then he just kind of gave me the submission, which is what we were waiting for. We were waiting to soften him up a little bit and wait for him to make a mistake, because he was desperate to get out of his situation. And, he left his head norm out there, and I caught him in the darts, which is one of my best moves because I'm a linkier person. I have a short torso but very long limbs. So things like darts, triangles, anacondas, Peruvians, those are my types of submissions. So I had to hit him with the darts, had to. But my other fights recently, I've been wanting to show off my striking, because everyone knows that I'm a grappler, but a lot of people, unless they train with me, don't know that I'm just as good of a striker. And I'm one of the most creative fighters that I've ever met. So I have a lot of grappling techniques and striking techniques that I've made up on my own, and I like to show that to people, because when people watch me train, they're in awe. I want the people to be in awe when I'm in fights. So I hit him a lot of times, which made me proud. I stood with him. I think I dropped him once too with my left hand, and I'm actually a right-handed southpaw most of the time, but I switched back and forth between stances, and I got him with a clean left cross, and it felt like I hit nothing. It felt like I punched a ghost, and that's what it feels like when you hit somebody clean. You feel no resistance. Your punch goes right through him, and when I felt that, I thought I knocked him out, but I didn't. And he was a tough guy. He trains at Rufus Sport, and a very nice guy. I want to say that I didn't have a post-fight interview, so I haven't had a chance to tell anybody how much of a gentleman my opponent was. He was a nice guy before and after, and he was tough. And I don't know. That's what I like the most, because now in a post-Conor McGregor era, everyone wants to talk trash, and they think that because you're fighting somebody, you have to be rude. That guy was a gentleman, and we kept it professional. So thanks to him. But if you let me keep talking, I'm gonna keep rambling.
Do it, man. This is all you, man. This is your
I,
interview.
I got a little bit more there. I like the way I hit him with that takedown. It was a shift jab, and I got him with a trip. Everyone knows that's my move, but I stole it from T.J. Dillashaw. And when I hit him with that, and I heard the crowd go, "Ooh, what did he hit him with?" That really made me happy, because I knew I just added one to the highlight. And him being a kickboxer, I knew that he was going to want to stand with me. But after I hit him, he wanted to grapple. So, and that's a confidence booster, because once you hit someone and reroute their game plan, you know how strong your success is. And by that point, you're already in their head. I'm like, he's no longer thinking about what he wants to do. He's thinking about surviving me. And that, like I said, is a confidence boost. And in a fight, the best thing you can have is confidence, just to keep going full force. It taxes your cardio less, and because you don't get tired from cardio. Usually, you get tired from stress, and I had no stress in that fight, all confidence.
Sounds good, man. And you mentioned the long limbs that you have allow you to hit certain submissions. I was just recently talking to Randy Brown, and he hit a one arm rear naked choke on Cowboy Oliveira. You probably saw that, right? And he was telling me that he could wrap his hand across his like shoulder. Can you do that? Can you hit one arm rear nakeds?
Yeah, I when I go for one arm rear nakeds, I usually grab the far side of my opponent's collarbone, and then that way I can kind of wrench it across. But that's usually because I'm controlling my opponent's hand with the opposite hand. But yes, I can definitely do that.
Damn, that's a dangerous weapon right there, man. Hitting submissions with one arm. Now, you have, a few unique submissions in your MMA fights. Any submission like you dream of pulling off in a fight?
Flying arm bar. I've always wanted to ever since I was a white belt. I wanted to pull it off in a jiu-jitsu tournament, but never happened. I've hit flying triangles several times, and as an amateur, I think I have two flying triangle finishes that I don't have video of, unfortunately. But I flying arm bar is one of them, and I would like to hit a twister. I like all those creative moves. I'm a big fan of like 10th planet submissions. So, oh yeah, knee bars and heel hooks too. I like those too, but I'm a really nice guy. I'm not too vicious. That's why I don't like those. But I'll choke guys all day long.
All right, sounds good. Now, you're riding a four-fight win streak now, but before this run, you suffered your first pro loss. What were some realizations you had throughout that experience?
Yeah, that was a tough one to swallow because I truly think that I am the better fighter between us two. And I say that humbly in all due respect for Trey Ogden, but I think that I was better that night and I just didn't show up. You have those nights where it's just an off day, so you don't feel right. You go in the cage cold even though you just warmed up. It was just one of those nights for me. But the reason why I lost that fight was inactivity, and I was so relaxed to the point where it was not good. And Trey Ogden out wrestled me, which I didn't expect. I thought that I was going to be the stronger wrestler, and he was a brown belt at the time, and I think I was either a blue or purple. And I know belts really don't matter, but when you go to fight someone and know that his belt is a higher rank than yours, you don't know how legit his school's belt system is if he's truly, more advanced than you. Because I had coaches that were brown belt, and I'm fighting the guy who's a brown belt. But that's just another way to get in your own head when you're in this sport. But yeah, I wasn't aggressive enough in that fight. And my coaches were screaming at me the whole time, like, Lucas, you can't win the fight unless you fight. I'm just kind of bouncing in front of them. I constantly filled them out. But in the third round, I got him in a buggy choke. And I have all of this on video. I got him in my buggy choke that I've hit twice. I hit it all the time in practice. It's my move. I can snap it on without even thinking about it. And I got him in it, and the ref stood us up thinking it was a stalemate. The ref didn't know that he was looking at and pulled me out of the submission. And it was the tightest one I've ever locked, and it's a slow choke. And that would have been another buggy choke on my resume, but the ref stood us up. I dominated the third round, but by then I was already down. So to answer your question, what I took away from that is you got to get after it. You got to fight bell to bell and complete domination. And I've reprogrammed my mind to be a little bit more aggressive, and I don't. If I outpoint the guy, I don't want a split decision. I want it to be a clean cut, dominant, unanimous decision if it has to go to the third bell.
For sure. And after that fight, you did have a few canceled fights, but then you finally got back into the cage, won back-to-back fights in 2019. Then 2020 hit. What happened, man, in your side of the world? Like, everybody got hit with different situations. What was yours?
So, from what I hear, I had it a little bit better than most people. I didn't know it because the pandemic was the pandemic. People were stuck in the house, gyms were shutting down. Our gym stayed open until the county that our gym is in required all businesses that had what is the words I'm looking for? The, bigger groups. The gathering of bigger groups that were prohibited. So movie theaters, restaurants, a lot of businesses like that were shut down, and obviously gyms. So up until then, I was still training hard, looking for fights, and I just couldn't get any. And that's been a huge issue of mine. I try to stay active as much as possible, but you know, 2020 made it harder for sure.
But you came back, man, and got another couple wins, so that's all good. Now, with your team, St. Charles MMA in St. Charles, Missouri, USA, did you start with them? Is that where you first like stepped your foot on the mats?
I started with an affiliated gym, which is pretty. So we got like a little umbrella, and the top is Vahi, Rodrigo Vahi. He's a Hickson Gracie black belt. He was my very first jiu-jitsu coach, and he's just a guru, man. Humble guy, traditional Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and we've produced a lot of UFC fighters. But since I was more MMA oriented and Rodrigo's gym was more jujitsu oriented, I started training with Mike Rogers over at St. Charles MMA. And it started because we had some guys that were high level MMA fighters. I was training jujitsu with them at Vahi's, and they would go and spar and do the wrestling and, more MMA training over at St. Charles MMA. And I just tagged along one day, sparred, loved it. And Mike Rogers has been a great mentor and coach for me. And I've met more mentors and coaches. And I truly think I got everything I need. A lot of guys start off at gyms like I train at, and then go train at the bigger gyms, like, uh, where all the famous fighters are. I don't need that. I know that I have everything I need. I truly think we're the best gym that nobody's ever heard of. I think I'm the best lightweight that people haven't heard of. And yeah, I didn't step on the mats for the first time at that gym, but I'm really glad that I was training at an affiliate gym and I got everything I need now.
Besides Mike Rogers, who else is in the coaching staff that helps you mold yourself?
So Jeff Henry is my longtime striking coach, and we have a system we call dynamic striking. Jeff made it up, and it fit perfectly to the type of techniques we use, and we're trying to get a perfect blend of multiple striking arts, going from karate to boxing and kickboxing and Muay Thai. And then we sprinkle a little bit of Wing Chun and Panatukan in there. So we want to make our own martial art that is both entertaining, vicious, and effective. No, well, we want them to be blended without you seeing the lines, perfect transitions. And Angel Rodriguez is a boxing coach of mine, and he has a great system of boxing for MMA. So I've had a lot of boxing coaches over the years, but Angel has a perfect form of boxing for MMA. It blends with wrestling and jiu-jitsu so well. And a lot of people don't know how to strike and grapple at the same time. And we work on that, a different form of dirty boxing, a more effective, modern form of dirty boxing. But those are the three main coaches that I work.
Influences. I want to know your major influences outside of MMA. People that support you no matter what. Who are they?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that because this is more important than the fighting itself. My dad, for one, which is the reason I'm a fighter. He was a fighter. He did kickboxing and judo, and growing up, hearing his stories, looking at his trophies, he was just something different. I knew he was special compared to most people that I knew, and I wanted to be like that. Now, I didn't expect to surpass him like this so early, but him telling me about fighting and everything, us training together, because honestly, he's my very first coach, and I just his source of knowledge, him as a source of knowledge, was just a blessing to me and he inspired. He's still to this day one of the toughest guys I've ever known. Like I always tell the story of watching bacon grease. He was cooking breakfast. He's a big breakfast guy, and I watched the grease. I with my own eyes. I watched a drop of grease jump out of the skillet, clear his glasses, and land right on his eyeball. He didn't flinch at all, And then I asked him, "How could you be so tough?" And he's like, just remain calm, and the first step of being tough is pretending to be tough. So he's one of my biggest influences as far as my mentality, my drive, and my work ethic. And I tried to mimic him so long, and now I got my own flavor, and now he looks up to me a little bit, which is it's kind of hard to keep up with that. Another one is my wife. My wife is she's one of my main training partners because I got mats in my basement and everything at home. If I have an idea for a move, I say, "Hey, baby, can I try this? I just need to borrow your arm for 5 seconds. Or tell me if this will work. Is this a good setup? Do you see this coming?" I'm doing that all day, and I'm begging her not to get tired of me. But those are two of my biggest influences outside of fighting.
For sure, man. I've done that many times with my wife, and she does not enjoy getting choked.
Yeah.
I'll just say.
No, just gotta keep apologizing. That's the recipe. That's
yeah. Well, that's marriage right there for a man. Is apologies. That's like you gotta have that in the back pocket all the time. So survival. Yeah. All right. Now for yourself, man. I look at you. I look at your record. I look at the competition you have faced. I'm thinking, man, the UFC or the Bellator or PFL or somebody has you on some kind of short list, man, for lightweights to get signed. What is your plans for the rest of the year?
Well, I know somebody's gonna call. I'm a spiritual person, and I just kind of try to listen to what I feel rather than what listening to that inner feeling rather than my five senses. And something tells me that something big is on the way. So right now, I'm just staying ready. I'm still updating my software, keeping my mind sharp, staying motivated, which is a hard thing because a lot of times I want to just come home and chill with my family. I want to say, I'm good enough on training this week and chill. Not now. Now it's crunch time. Those days where I feel like not going, I make sure I go and try to get extra work in. And I don't know, man. I can feel that my dream is so close. I was talking to one of my teammates about it the other day. I'm like, I'm not really nervous, but I'm feeling a little bit guilty because I'm going to get everything I've ever wanted because all I wanted to be was in an organization where I can fight for a world title. And I'm going to get that, almost no doubt. So when that time comes, I got to keep the promise I made to myself when I was 14 years old when I started this. And I promised that when I get my shot, I won't blow it. I can't guarantee I'm going to win a fight. I can't guarantee I'm going to get that belt and be the number one lightweight in the world. But I can guarantee that I'm going to give it all and I'm going to leave it all in that cage. And I'm not going to blow my shot. I'm not going to do what I did in the Troy Ogden fight and not be aggressive. I'm going to fight to win. And, you damn near have to kill me to take that away from me.
It seems like that Trey Ogden loss is maybe the best thing that has happened to you, because if you would have went into the bigger organization as like an undefeated, on this streak, you probably mentality wise, you'd probably be different.
Amen. Yes, sir. I think so too. But it gave me a big lesson, and it came at the perfect time because I beat myself up over that loss so much that and at least it didn't happen in the UFC.
Yeah.
Because it would have hurt more if I lost a fight like that when it got to the time where it counted the most. I got a chance to learn from it and, polish up my tools, reroute my thoughts. And now I'm ready, because I won't make that mistake twice. That's for sure.
All right. One last thing. This is kind of an open-ended question. You can answer it any way you want. What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? Thinking about the fact that those guys that I look at on TV beating the crap out of each other. There's a good chance that I'll be standing in front of them one day. And yeah, that makes me a little bit nervous sometimes. But you know what? Fighting wise, I don't really care about that much. What keeps me up at night the most is doing everything it takes to keep all of my promises and being the best father and best husband I can be. That's a big deal for me because when my daughters get older, and I see them living life, if they're not living heaven on earth, then I fail. And I'm going to do everything it takes to give them heaven on earth.
Spoken like a true father. Lucas, man, it was great catching up with you. Hopefully, we catch up a bunch of times in the future. Good luck to you on your prospects of getting signed.
Yes, sir. Thank you.